Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BariConnected podcast. And today we're being joined by a very special friend and a very highly inspirational person to me, Miss Char Holmes. And Char, say hi.
Hey guys, happy. What day of the week is it now?
I know
Wednesday.
it's hump day, it's Wednesday.
Happy day. That's mommy brain for you guys.
Char just had a baby, didn't you,
Yeah.
Char? She's still on maternity leave.
Yes. Just February, so he's 2 months.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm gonna just kind of do a little short introduction of Char and what we're talking about today. Today's topic, you guys, is very positive mindset. And a positive mindset with bariatric surgery, I believe, is probably as crucial as the surgery itself. That's an opinion, but sometimes we have to reset that a little bit because we've been trained through many different experiences through our bariatric journey. And sometimes it's like seeing a new version of ourselves in so many ways. And Char's going to be talking about reframing the way we approach challenges to make your surgical experience the best it can. Because you guys, struggle is a choice. I'm going to say that again. Struggle is a choice. You don't have to stay in struggle. When you're noticing that you're hitting some challenges, how you frame that, like whether you see it as a negative experience overall, or whether you can see it as some type of gift to kind of bring you into developing, more of who you are. And I'm going to kind of just say, Shar underwent a revision from lap band to vertical sleeve on October 25th of 2022. And she shares through different social media platforms her experience through Instagram, TikTok. She has a podcast, Talk Bari to Me, and she also helps with another podcast called The Bari Male Experience, which is two gentlemen who are focused on really in helping the males out there. So, Shar, I'm going to kind of turn this over to you. I don't feel like I'm kind of doing you as much justice as I can because you're such an amazing person. So,
Yeah.
before I do that, I also want to say I see lots of hellos from all over. We just want to
Hey.
welcome each and every one of you. Yes. And please continue to let us know that you're here with us. Say hello if you're joining on the live event. If you're listening to the replay, you can always comment in that. Our replays are always on YouTube and on our podcast. And so at this, I'm going to turn it over, Shar.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me on, Brenda. We have been chit-chatting a little bit over the past few months. Yes, so I am in fact a bariatric patient. I'll tell you guys a little bit about my backstory so this all makes sense. So I am originally a lap band girly. So I know a lot of folks haven't heard about the lap band in a long time. It isn't as commonly done or done at all at a lot of clinics these days. But I was one of the folks who had the lap band done back in 2011. And while I didn't have all the success that I anticipated with the journey, I think a lot of it was user error. I always say that because um, I didn't meet the tool halfway, so to speak. So fast forward to October 25th of 2022, after having my 2-year-old, I went and had VSG surgery. And then at that point, not only did I have community, I had information, I had the right mindset to go with it. And I did see success a lot faster and a lot more efficiently in that particular surgery. I lost over 123 pounds. I got into the community headfirst. Like while I initially was sharing to Brenda, I didn't get on TikTok with the idea of becoming a content creator. I got on there to document my journey and to just journal and also hold myself accountable, right? Because if you put it on social media, it's kind of hard to take it down or erase it. It kind of lives there forever. So I started documenting my journey there, and that took off really, really quickly. I connected with folks like Brenda mentioned, the gentlemen from the Barry Male Experience, Rab and Tony. I connected with Jojo B, the folks at the Bariatric Society, Barry Nation. These are all really great people in the community, and I think there's power in proximity to people who are positive and are doing great things. So connecting with Brenda was just a plus, right? So definitely has been a lot of ups and downs, right? I think it's fair to say, Brenda, and maybe you may want to chime in on this one. It's not a linear path, right? Being bariatric, there's a lot of peaks and valleys. And folks in the chat, if you can relate, go ahead and drop that in the chat. I'm curious. Are we seeing a lot of ups and downs emotionally, mentally? How about for you, Brenda?
Yeah, I think that through my journey, my surgery was back in 2013. Um, physically, emotionally, mentally, there's been different things that I've went through. I think physically, I went through a period of having some regain and recently had the opportunity to work with that and help take that back off. I also, emotionally, I've been really interested in emotions probably like throughout my whole journey because I feel like it fuels what we do, like how we see things in our life and how we go through each day. And I've learned so much through that journey. Like here recently, I've been taking some classes on emotional intelligence and just learning more about how we can like just really keep our emotions more at an even keel. Like more of I feel like that's kind of our essence is just kind of being more smooth and I call it zero
Yeah.
point. It's like really not having these whoa roller coaster rides. And
Yeah.
then the third thing, that mentally, I think, for me, it's kind of like this year is kind of, I don't know if my word for this year would be reset. Like
Ooh.
just going back and like looking at my life and like each day, you guys were creating something new. So, you have the choice each day to go back and remember 5 years ago what happened to you in a failure, or you have the experience of just saying, you know what, and creating something new. It doesn't have to be the same way every day.
I love that. I think reset is part of my where I'm at currently. Like I shared with you guys, I just recently had a berry baby. So there's obviously some regain with that. So I definitely could relate to that part. One of the things that I like to think about is any day that I wake up is an opportunity for me to do something new, something different, hit the reset button. So I operate from that space a lot. I know that it's one of those things that sometimes we take for granted, right? So one of the practices I've put into play for myself, and we're going to dive right into this because I just can't help myself. We're going to get right into this. So one of the practices that I've put in play for myself is having an attitude of gratitude. And I know that that sounds all woo-woo, but it really does help. So before my feet even hit the ground, I'm in my bed and I think about how I can silence my brain because I there's a lot going on up here as a mom, and just as a person in general with responsibilities. We have a lot going on up here, so we have to find those little pockets of time to just silence our mind and take a moment to be grateful for the things we have. So I sit in bed. Literally, I haven't even brushed my teeth, guys. I know, disgusting. But I sit in bed and I say, you know what? I'm grateful to have a bed to sleep in. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for this surgery. There was so much that went into having this surgery in the first place that just being able to be on the other side of it and seeing myself post-operatively without any complications or minimal complications, that to me is something to be grateful for. So I want to challenge you guys in the chat. Can you tell me something that you're grateful for today? It doesn't have to be specific to the surgery, but just like let's do a quick gratitude check because I think that's important. I think if I'm going to say for today, I'm grateful that I no longer have a sore throat. I've been sick over the past few days. And while that seems so small and minute, it's important to me because I wanted to show up for you guys and be here to just remind you that there's always something to be grateful for. Let me go look in the chat here real quick. Tara says, my kiddos, uh, waking up, absolutely. My health, my children, my family. I love it. I love it. I'm grateful to be here now. I love that. What's something you're grateful for, Brenda? You know I'm gonna ask.
Well, and I just typed it in the chat box. So for
Oh, you did?
me,
Okay.
like, yes, no, I'm glad you asked though. For me, like, I was noticing with with kind of going back to that weight loss journey of kind of, losing back the regain that I had, I was noticing because I am working from home, I was noticing that my fitness level wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. I was noticing my energy levels were starting to drop in the midday and I was feeling tired. And I really think post-COVID, if I'm gonna be completely transparent, like that's whenever I had gotten COVID twice. One time I was so sick, I honestly thought I was gonna die. But
Yeah.
I my energy level never fully recovered. So I'm working on that, but I'm so grateful that my energy level is probably at 70 or 80% now, as opposed to
Yes.
down to like 20 or 30%. So very happy about that. But there's some great ones. Go ahead and read some of them.
Yes, yes, yes. So I see some folks says my healthy lunch. Let's see what else we got here. Snow. That's a
Wow.
I'm not the snow girly, but I love that for you. I'm grateful for my new job. Oh, congratulations on your new job. I love that. You guys have a
Uh,
lot of things to be grateful for. And I think that's awesome, right? Because it really does set the tone for the rest of your day. So I think once I say the things I'm grateful for, it's like nothing can ruin my day, right? And things happen, right? The life doesn't know you're bariatric. Like life just lifes. Like it just happens. It just so happens that it lifes and we're bariatric. So we have tiny tummy problems. So a lot of us we may have looked at food as like a crutch or something to lean on back then, and it may not necessarily be something we can do anymore because we just don't have the physical capacity to eat our emotions or deal with things in those ways. I know for me, I was definitely an emotional eater. So I had to start learning ways to start redirecting my thoughts, right? So when I was having those negative thoughts, I saw something. Thank you so much. I saw something that said, focus on the benefits, right? And it really led me back to something that was a little deeper than that, right? Why? I know that's one of those things like, but why did you even do this in the first place? I had to really solidify my why. And this is for anything. I'm talking bariatric now, but this could apply to anything in life too. Why exactly did we undergo this surgery? I know there are some obviously physical reasons why we've done it, whether it be because you want to get rid of medications, whether it be you want to increase your life expectancy. I'm curious in the chat, why did you have this surgery? And not just why the why has to be something so strong that it carries you over when you don't want to show up. Can y'all go ahead and drop that in the chat and let me know why you had surgery? And I'll share with you guys my why so you guys can get a sense of what that looked like for me. So in, I want to say 2021, my grandfather passed away. He and I were on the same exact blood pressure medication. He was an 83-year-old man. I'm literally in my early 30s. To me, that was like such a wake up call because he passed from a pulmonary embolism. He had a blood clot and he wasn't quite taking care of his health. So it really put things into perspective for me. I said, I can't afford to not be here. Like there's literally people depending on me. And that really shook me up because to me he was always such a strong man. I thought, he would live forever. While that's not the reality, I definitely was shaken by that. So I said, well, my why initially was like, well, I want to lose weight. And then I kept peeling that back, right? Well, why do I want to lose weight? Well, because I want to be healthier. But why do I want to be healthier? Kept peeling that back. Well, because I'm scared to die. Like that's what it boiled down to. So you may have a why in mind, but you have to keep peeling back the reasons why because that why is deeper than what you think. So when I got to it, it came down to simply I am terrified to die. And that was scary for me. So that's what led me to this surgery. And Brenda, I don't know if you're comfortable sharing your reasons why for going the bariatric route and what holds you over when you have a difficult time with your process.
Yeah, I've kind of asked myself the same question over and over and over again because you always say it's to lose weight, but why do I want to lose weight?
Right.
I think to me, it seemed more like number one, an ability, a way to be able to not fail. Like I felt like I wouldn't say it was failure free, but I felt like bariatric surgery was a way to give you such a strong tool to make it more impossible for you to fail, like easier for you to do things, then I have to ask myself, why was I afraid to fail? Like maybe I had some failures in my past and I was tired of reliving those. Maybe I also know for myself, health wise, um, I just felt like I needed to feel better in my body physically. Like I was tired of feeling like weighted. And these things really, you guys, when we ask ourselves these things, when you get down to the very, very, like you just keep asking, but why? But why? Like Char just did, and like I just did. When you keep asking yourself why, it's not even about the weight. Like you think it's about the weight. It's about overcoming fears. It's about feeling better in your body. A lot of these things you can do right now. You don't have to wait till you lose weight. But
Right.
I understand. Like we all think mentally that we have to, that the weight is the biggest thing, but it's just part of the journey. So just wanted to add that. There's so many great comments, by the way. I love all these comments. I
So
don't know
I
if you want to
see.
read some of them, sure.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read some of these. So it says, Nadia says, my health, my children, and my family. I love that. Those are really great motivators. And I love that you said your health because you come first. Let's see here. Oops, let's scroll down here. To lose enough to be able to get both knees replaced, bone on bone, and both quality of life is low right now. That's a great reason why my children's self-image and to be healthy. And I apologize if I skip past yours. I'm gonna just try to skim through some of these here, but these are all really, really great whys, guys. I really do think these are the things, right? Because now there's going to be days that you may not want to show up for yourself. You may not want to show up and do the thing because this is not the easy way out. Like a lot of people like to paint surgery as the easy way out. There's a lot of work that goes into it, not only just physically on a nutritional level, but really what's up here. So, is it Ashley? She said, my why was to be a better role model for my children. When I had my daughter, she was 6 weeks premature and I had preeclampsia. I blamed myself. I had a terrible experience with an emergency C-section and recovery was hard. That's when I knew I had to make a change. Oh wow. That is really, really powerful and a strong why. I mean, honestly, I'm an older mom and her dad is not involved and I have almost no living family. I was so physically limited. I had an event which highlighted my life expectancy. If I didn't make changes, I wanted to be alive and see my daughter grow and become a functional adult. Whew. Yeah. Yeah. I feel that so much because I know and I love all my children. And I just think about my 2-year old specifically because she is a child who is on the spectrum and she requires so much special attention. I think about what would it be like if I'm not here? It really like it's overwhelming to think about sometimes, right? So I want to make sure that I do everything. I put it all on the table. I do everything I can in my power to be there, be present. And it's easy to show up, right? It's easy to do all the right things when life is great. It's when we have those hard times that is like, how do you get yourself back in there? And I just want to share this quick quote. It says, when there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. So, how do we start to eliminate that enemy, that negative self-talk, those times and moments where we're not always in the best headspace for ourselves to show up? Are you guys practicing anything currently that keeps you accountable? Anything that has you show up when you don't feel like it? I'm just curious because that's hard, right? It's hard to show up all the time. It's hard to be at 100% all the time. I know you said yourself, your motivation wasn't all the way there. How do you show up? Like, what helps you show up, Brenda? And I'll share mine's right after.
Well, for me, I mentioned like for me, I'm trying to take my fitness to another level. So I hired a trainer 4 days a week to meet me at the gym, tell me what to do. It makes me accountable because I can tell you, like right now, I am 1.5 months in. And if that person wasn't there right now, would I have not showed up a few days? Hmm,
Mm,
more than likely, just because I was tired some days. Some mornings I woke up and I mean, like we're meeting at 5:45 in the morning. So that's early for me. Some people it might not be early for, but um, like it would have been so easy to say no. How about you?
Yeah, so I think for me, I definitely at this point, my accountability is just my kids. They kind of I have to be up early, so I try to make the most out of the time that I have. So, the community. I told you guys when I started this journey, I was documenting just for the sake of holding myself accountable. And while I don't think it's for everyone, just posting and having that expectation that people are waiting for updates, that does keep me accountable. And I am very honest when I'm not doing great or when I'm having challenging moments, I do post those moments as well because I also want to be super transparent that it's not always great. But we have to put ourselves in a headspace that even if it's not great today, there's always tomorrow. Sometimes you just need another hour. Sometimes you just need another day. So, definitely the social media accountability. I have the accountability from my family. They are on board and they push me to do my best. And my best can be 20% for that day. And that's another thing I think it's important to acknowledge, right? You don't always have to be at 100%. It's really easy to get discouraged if you don't show up at 100%. If all you can do is you've given it all, and if that's all you can do, let's celebrate that, right? Let's start celebrating those moments of showing up, even if it's at 50%. It's better than showing up at 0%, right? And I think it's all about perspective. Sometimes we think, well, if I don't show up at 100%, I'm a failure. And you're not. And you're absolutely not because you showed up. It may not have been at 100%, but you showed up even at 30, 40, 50%. That's the thing here. We need to realize this is not a get quick situation, get skinny quick situation. Like we're in this for the long haul. Like once you've gotten your tummy, I like to joke and say amputated, but you know what I mean. Once you've gone through the surgery, it's there. Like you've got that tool. Now you got to work the other tools. You got the physical component of it, whether it's exercising, just working on your physical fitness, that's another tool. You have the mental health component, big on therapy, guys. I am huge on getting the mental health component. And then along with the mental health component comes that mindset because it's all interconnected, right? So if this up here is not doing what it needs to do and you're not nurturing that, then it's going to be really hard to show up physically. It's going to be really hard to eat the right things. So believe it or not, this is the driving force for a lot of what we do. So if we're not speaking kindly to ourselves, if we're not nurturing that mind, then chances are you're not going to show up at your very best. So one of the other things that I wanted to bring up is celebrating even those non-scale victories. And I love that the waiting table does this. They do their NSV every Wednesday, ironically today. So if you guys want to share your non-scale victories in the chat, I am curious, what was one non-scale victory that just showed up for you and is like still top of mind? I'll tell you one of mine. One of the main things was just being able to walk and not get winded. So I didn't realize how much I was not breathing right until I could. Is that silly? Like I don't know what it was, but like I would walk and I'd be like gasping for air. And now I can walk an extended period of time and that's not an issue. What about for you, Brenda?
I can think of two that kind of come off right off the bat. Number one, I can remember before weight loss surgery, um, like being so focused on sleep. Like, am I getting enough sleep? Because I was like in the evenings, because of the weight, I was extremely more tired. And after surgery, I remember that not being such a focus anymore. The second thing that I remember is being able to wear clothes that I'd not worn in like since high school. So I was excited about that. Like, I guess it was, I always could wear, I mean, all of us, no matter what size we are, we can always wear cute clothes, but maybe it was about like feeling good in what I was wearing, like that reflection that you see in the mirror. And maybe
Right.
that sounds kind of, I don't know, what would you say? It to me, it just made my confidence level boost a little bit.
There's nothing wrong with that because, like you said, you can wear whatever you want at any size, but how are you feeling when you're presenting yourself in that way? Are you feeling good about it? Are you self-conscious about it? Are you worried about getting validation from other people? So I think something happens to a lot of us when we're going through this surgery it's not on the pamphlet. They don't tell you the evolution that happens mentally with us, right? That part was not on the brochure. I guarantee you. I have not seen it yet. Maybe doctors are going to add it soon, but it has not happened. And before I get into all that, let me just go ahead and look at everyone's non-scale victories here. And yes, ooh, I love the progress, not perfection. That part. My non-scale victory is being comfortable crossing my legs. Oh, yes, crossing my legs over. Yes, that was a big one for me. I can't believe I forgot that one. Being able to tie my own shoes without getting out of, yes, absolutely. Walk past all the temptations at the grocery store. Ooh, you're better than me, Jessica. I still like, look at that. I try. Sometimes I fail, but it's okay. I love that for you. Uh, Swing with my grandsons. Yes. I know they have fun with grandma.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Being able to buy clothes from regular stores. That, yes. Being only 6 weeks out, having my blood pressure. Yes, Nadia. I love that. See, that to me, I could relate to that so much because once they discontinued my blood pressure medication, I was like, "Girl, you're winning." Like, and nothing else. I could have not have lost another pound, and I would have been like, "That's it. I won." Uh, so I think it's so important to celebrate those non-scale victories. Even being able to walk down the aisle about the and the plane. Oh, I haven't gotten on a plane since I lost the weight, but that's one that I cannot wait to check off my list. The just not asking for the seatbelt extender. That used to be the most embarrassing moment for me. I don't know why. I used to get so self-conscious. I had one flight attendant say, "Who was it that asked for the seatbelt extender?" I didn't say anything because I was like, "Oh my God, did she really just ask out loud?" I was like, never mind. I'll just squeeze into this thing. But yeah, I feel that's it's
Hey,
like
Shar,
so
there's a couple here from Facebook too. We have solo traveling and being able to do a 5K, which both of those things are incredible. I love the
wow.
solo traveling because, and I honestly, I did my first 5K probably about 2 years ago. So it's never too late, right? Like those are great. I love that.
I do.
Towel
I think those are
closing.
great.
I like the towel closing.
Yes, yes, the towel closing. I haven't done a walk yet, but I do plan to do the Autism Speaks walk. Crossing my fingers. It really all depends on what work schedule looks like, but those are awesome. I think those are all fantastic non-scale victories, and we have to keep celebrating those because the scale is just one thing, but it's those non-scale victories that just they hit a little different. I think they're great because we look over them sometimes, but it just reminds us that we're making progress when we don't always see it on the scale, but we see those. We know how we feel when we experience those non-scale victories because they're still present in mind. I know some of you guys mentioned things that you probably were like, I didn't think this was going to be so impactful for me, but it is, and they're important to celebrate. So I love that you guys shared those with us. Um, Now I will say I did want to just talk about in terms of positive thinking, right? That's an us responsibility, right? But I do want to just point out one thing that has really, really helped is just our circle of influence, right? How many of us have that one, it could be a friend or relative who's just like pessimistic or just always never a naysayer. Like, I know I'm not the only one. I know we all know someone like that, right? And bless their heart, right? But we also have to protect our spirit, our energy. I'm big on those boundaries. Do any of you guys know those folks? Because I do. And I love them to pieces, but I keep them really, really far away whenever I can because that is very much contagious. That pessimistic, negative energy. Mm-mm. Nadia says yes. And that's okay. Absolutely love them from a distance. Absolutely. There is power in proximity. So the people who you are, and that can go both ways. The people who are closest to you and who have access to you the most, they can either impact you positively or negatively, right? So we start to think like the people that we're in proximity with. We start to act like the people we're in proximity with. So I think it's important to get around people who are also positive thinkers. So that way, when you have those times where you're not always showing up at your very best, you have someone to just nudge you and remind you that it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Absolutely love them. Love that. My whole family, it was hard to learn the right distance. Sorry I joined late, but I'm glad. Oh, no, no worries. You are fine. Boundaries are so important. Yes, boundaries are the new word for me. Outside of reset, we mentioned earlier, boundaries are so important as they're not happy people and need to put people down and make themselves feel better about their lack of action. That part. So I think that I don't think that people necessarily mean to be negative or pessimistic. I try to think that that's not the case, right? Sometimes people project their own fears and insecurity, or they think they're protecting you, right? I had people who I love, and they were just like, well, I don't know about the surgery. Like, why couldn't you just do this that way? And when I started having those stalls, I started thinking about that conversation. And I really had to put a block. I just had to be like, pause, because just because I'm experiencing this stall right now does not mean that this is going to be the case forever. This is one of those things that's just it's going to happen, right? But you have to be mindful, right? Because that's a conversation that already happened. So I had to really make an intentional act to like block those thoughts and also try to be mindful of the conversations I was allowing as it pertained to my bariatric surgery, right? Because everyone has an opinion, right? But we have to remember that people's opinions of you are none of your business. I don't, I'm going to say that for someone who needs to hear this. People's opinions of you are none of your business. That belongs to that person. That is not your reality. Okay. So, uh, what was it? The hardest boundary to keep for yourself? Definitely the opinions about bariatric surgery, right? Because I was the only one in my family who has ever had bariatric surgery. No one in my family underwent bariatric surgery, and they've fluctuated in weight. And I've always been the bigger family member, the bigger cousin, which came along with the role of being the family jester, the funny person, you know. Um, so when I went and had surgery, it was like, oh, you did it that way. You couldn't just go to the gym. And so I had to learn to tell people, you know what, I appreciate that you have opinions, but I'm going to need you to stop right there because this is a decision I made for myself. And while I respect that you have an opinion about it, I'm going to have to pause you right there. It's okay to pause people. I think a lot of us get into this people pleaser mentality. And it's hard to tell people no. It's hard to tell people respectfully. I'm gonna need you to just keep your opinions to yourself. It's okay to say that. I don't know if we know that, but it's okay to tell people I'm not okay with this conversation. That's honoring yourself. That's that self-love, that self-care. Yeah,
Well,
it's
and Shar,
hard. It's
if I can interject something too, this is
yeah.
like really it's going to be hard to hear for many of us, maybe all of us. But one thing we have to kind of remember too is like you were talking about energy and on an energetic level, like if you're putting like whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing is being put out there. You can't have a conversation with someone that's telling you something like very negative that you haven't already thought yourself because it's energy. So it's you're on the same wavelength of whatever they are. So in my opinion, like sometimes when people are saying things back to us, it's only reflecting a fear that we've had in our own past. It's only reflecting something we've thought about before negatively about ourselves. So it's kind of taking the blame off of them and putting it like within ourselves to have power over it because if somebody's saying something that's really negative towards us, like if we can reflect back and think, you know what, maybe I have thought that about myself, or maybe this is something that I can change within myself, because I feel like sometimes it's just a reflection of what's going on internally. And we don't even recognize that because we think it's other people. We think it's the exterior. We think it's everybody else. But maybe there's things that we can like control within ourselves because we've maybe thought them ourselves or whatever. So I don't know. That may not make sense to some people, but For me, it hits home.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of it's going to be the inner work we do with ourselves because, again, we can only control what we put out and what we take in, right? We can't control the what's happening outside of us, right? So a lot of it is going to be the inner work we do with ourselves, right? That may be going to therapy, that may be just starting to have more mindful conversations with yourself, right? Maybe journaling. Maybe that looks like it looks like a lot of different things. I can't tell you what that looks like for you. You have to find what works for you, right? So for me, I've had a lot of reflective thoughts and I think about it. I'm like, well, I've come to a place where I'm no longer at a space where I care about outside opinions. And it took me a while to get there because I grew up in a very how do I put this politely? Judgmental family household where we were compared like this cousin's doing this and that cousin's doing that. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And some people may be able to relate to that, right? But I had to release myself from that, and it all happened recently. This is all I'm talking about within the past 2 years since I've had surgery. I've been empowered in ways that I didn't even think would happen. Right? I didn't even imagine any of it. So I had to really release my self. What's the word I'm looking for? That seeking validation from uh family, seeking validation from friends, seeking and just realizing it's just me, myself, and I. How do I feel about me, myself, and I? Because that's all that matters, right? So how you feel about yourself is how that's what you project onto the world, right? So I remember grandmother used to tell me, treat your furniture or treat I may be saying this wrong. Treat your furniture the way you want people to treat it, right? Something along those lines, right? So if I mistreat myself, if I talk negatively about myself, it makes it easier for other people to bring that same energy my way, right? So once I started speaking a little more highly about myself, coming into spaces knowing that I have something to contribute, that I don't seek validation, I realized that the world and people who came in contact with me kind of matched that same energy, right? So you would not thank you. I think that it's important to just start having these dialogues with yourself, start speaking things that are positive to yourself. Maybe start making a list of all the things that are great about yourself. That's not I don't think that that's a negative thing. I think a lot of people think that oh, being self-centered. No, well, sometimes you have to get a little selfish, right? Selfish to me now is the new self-care. I know that sounds silly, but it's true, right? Start looking in within what do you have outside of just, you work, you're a mom. Like, what about you is great? And we all have something to offer. We all bring something to the table. And if you start writing those things down, you will be surprised how long that list is. Maybe you're a kind person. Maybe you're a person who you're a generous person. You're a person who loves, those are things that we should just write down, make a list. And those are the things we need to hold on to when we're having moments that we're not feeling ourselves. So true. When negative talk to ourselves, sorry, I'm just reading Sarah's so true. The negative talk to ourselves and others feel like they can do the same. Yeah, yeah, and I had to learn that because I was very self-deprecating, right? That was part of my facade as the big girl, I would poke fun at myself before anyone would poke fun at me, right? So that was my defense mechanism. So I think now that I speak highly of myself, it's different. It's hard to explain, but I feel the treatment is different. I feel that I present differently. I present more confidently. And that's what happens when you start to think of yourself in a more positive light. Um yes. Oh, thank you so much. And I know I can talk all day about this, guys. And this is one of those topics that I can talk about all day, all night. And if you guys have any questions or just want to chit chat about anything in the chat, feel free to drop those messages in the chat because while this is about the power of positive thinking, I think a lot of this is not just bariatric, right? This could apply to our day to day lives, what goals we want to go after, what things we're trying to pursue. That also requires for us to have positive thinking because it's not going to be peaches and creams all the time. Life is going to punch you in the gut, but as long as you can get up, you'll be you'll be fine, right? um I want to ask you a question, Brenda, because I think people look at failure as a negative thing, right? For you, have you feel like since you've had maybe this is something before you had surgery, but do you feel like failure for you has taken on a different meaning since you've had surgery or just since you started pursuing the things you're pursuing currently?
I'm thinking about how that I would say that instead of seeing things as quote failures, it's more about trying until like knowing what works and what doesn't work. Like I've tried this and it works. I've tried this and it doesn't work. I've tried, kind of more that way than failure. And I also want to say too, Shar, just kind of backing up for a second, because I thought what you said was so powerful. I want to ask you a question too. Like when you were talking about other people and not caring what they think. So let me ask you this: Is it really? I'm curious now. Is it really ever about what another person thinks, or is it only how we take that information in and we respond to it?
I think that part because while people have opinions, I think it's how we internalize those opinions, how we dissect that information, right? Because it's all about how we interpret it, right? If you tell me, hey, I think you're ugly, and I'm like, she thinks I'm gorgeous, like that's my in my head, like that's how I interpret it. But like I think it really comes down to how you feel about you. So if there are insecurities living within, if there's some self-conscious thoughts living within, you're gonna more than likely take it as a negative, right? So I I now when people have, and I know this is gonna sound silly, I haven't really heard a lot of negative things about me at all. So, if I ever did hear something negative about myself, it would be really, really hard for me to internalize that because I'm in a space where I'm like, no, I think I'm pretty great. Like I'm a good person. I want to see people win. I any space I'm in, I want to leave it better than it was when I got there. Before I got there. So I think it's all in the and who receives the information, right? So if I'm receiving it and I'm like, well, I'm going to take this or I'm going to toss this. And I think that that's a fair way to go through life. You can either take what people say or you can toss it. And that's a powerful place to be in, right? Because you no longer are giving people power over your emotions. You decide what you keep and what you throw to the wayside. So I think that we need to get better about that. And I'm still, it's a work in progress, but I think in a space that I'm in right now, I think every day it's an intentional act, right? It's not like overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. What I'm saying is not something that you flip the switch and automatically you're just like this super confident person. You can just pick stuff up and throw it to the side. No, it's an intentional act with everything we're talking about today. So that's a really great question, Brenda. So I think that with my particular situation, I definitely all this happened over the past I think 2 years. So I'm 30, I'll be 36 tomorrow. My birthday's tomorrow. I'll be 36 tomorrow. So if I'm just now picking this up at 36, it took me 36 years to figure out that people's opinions mean nothing. They don't. They mean absolutely nothing. And it takes time. It takes a lot of conscious effort to remember that what you feel about you is the only thing that counts. Thank you guys. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm glad this helped, Jennifer. It takes time. And to the point, and thank you for that question, Brenda. To the point about failure, right? And I love what you said, right? Because I think failure is not your enemy. I think failure is your teacher. And I've gone through life with that thought process, right? Because while I didn't always think that way, I'm finding that when I fail, it gives me an opportunity to just reflect and say, what could I have done differently? Even as a bariatric person, when I find that I'm not necessarily either losing or eating the right things, now I need to think about why exactly am I not doing X, Y, and Z? It gives you that pause. So don't think of failure. This goes back to positive thinking, right? Take away that power of failure being a negative thing. It's not. It's your friend. It's absolutely your friend because it's giving you an opportunity to shift gears, to hit that reset button we were talking about earlier. So I want us to start thinking about reframing the idea of failure being the boogeyman because it's not. It really isn't. It's there for you to take a look at what you've done thus far and what you can tweak. And sometimes it's really small things, right? Because sometimes we think, oh my goodness, I did all this wrong. No, it's like little fixes that will get you where you need to be. So thank you guys. I appreciate the birthday shout outs. But yeah, that's one of my things, right? I'm really starting to really embrace failure because that means I'm in motion. That means I'm in action. If you're not failing, then you're probably not doing anything. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. When you're failing, that means you're trying stuff. You're trying different things, and it just either they work or they don't. And oh, another thing. Sorry, guys. It just came to mind in this bariatric journey, right? It's so easy to compare ourselves, right? Because there's so much, especially on social media, right? There's so many people documenting their journey, sharing their experiences, and it's easy to feel like you're failing. And quite frankly, that is not the case. That person's experience is not your experience. We need to, if remove that comparison, because comparison is the thief of joy, you would realize that you're doing better than you think you are. I just wanted to put that out there. I think that goes back to what Brenda said before. If we have had the same thoughts or criticism, then when someone else says it hits different, it's like picking a scab, it hurts more. Yeah, finding the space to love the good, the bad, and the ugly while I'm in the process. Thanks, ladies. Revelations are coming live. Yes, I love that. I love that. Yes, I want to make sure I didn't
Thanks
miss
everybody
anything.
for sharing. Here's a little quote I get these little daily texts from a friend, and his text was, words can inspire, thoughts can provoke, but only action can truly brings you closer to your dreams. It's about those, like, you can think about things, you can like really put a lot of emotion into things, but unless you take a step forward, sometimes things don't really change. And Char, you were talking about, we were talking about the reset button, but we are also about trying something new. Sometimes that's the only way to get things moving, and failure can keep us from making a step forward, and that remains in the same, that keeps us remaining in the same energy, the same situations, and feeling stuck. Sometimes just doing one or two new little tiny things can make the difference of between feeling stuck and not feeling stuck. So thank you for that. And Char, I know we're kind of getting close to time. Recaps. That's what you
Yes. Yeah. So most importantly, attitude of gratitude, right? That if I can leave you guys with anything, start your day off, create that ritual of just starting your day off, setting the tone for yourself, whether that's an affirmation, whether that's waking up with the gratitude check, whether that's listening to a motivational audio. First thing in the morning, that's the most important time to capture uh, that positive thinking because there's the stuff outside we have no control of. So if there's anything we can do that we can control, which we kind of talked about, we can't control what happens outside of us, but if we can manage at the beginning of our day to squeeze in some form of positive affirmation, positive thinking, gratitude check. Please squeeze that in because that will set the tone for your day, right? And then lastly, just in the power of proximity, get around people who are cheerleaders for you, get around get in spaces that promote positive thinking. Uh, Brenda had an amazing group, the BariConnected group. I honestly, Brenda, I'll be honest, I've been in a lot of Facebook group, but your group is extremely positive. And that that to me means the world because I think we need more of that. I think we need more people nudging and encouraging us in the right direction. So I appreciate you taking the time to chit chat with me. I appreciate you all in the chat who've been chiming in, wishing me happy birthday, and just staying on topic with us. It's really appreciated. And if I can be of service in any way to anyone, I'm always here. I am an open book and an open door.
Yes, thank you for being here with us with all this birthday stuff going on. I guess when we planned it, I forgot all about that. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Actually, I think I asked for it. I was like, I think I want to give this self to myself as a gift. So Brenda, you are my birthday gift. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you too. I mean, not many women just having a baby would be willing to come on here and share all this incredible stuff. I want to say, you guys, don't you think we have some of the most incredible speakers? I'm so fortunate to
Yes.
have you, Shar, here talking to us and sharing. Yes. I
Thank
want to share
you.
a couple things about you, Shar. Is that okay? Like a couple
Yeah,
places, like how they can contact you and how they can get a hold of you.
absolutely.
So Shar is on Linktree. She is on Insta. Well, Linktree. I'm going to say she has her own website. So we'll post that here secondarily. She has a podcast called Talk Bari to Me. Her Instagram account is at VSG Bestie. Her Instagram account is Talk Bari to Me, which is her podcast. Her TikTok is VSG Bestie. Her YouTube is VSG Bestie. I'm going to post these. I actually have this where I'll just paste them. And then I'm going to paste onto Facebook as well. But I'm going to show you here in just a hot second where they can find all these incredible places too. Give me one tiny second. I'm refreshing my page so I can paste it on you or on Facebook for these Facebook listeners that are here with us um, on the
Yes.
live.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate you.
Sorry for the background noise. Uh,
No,
it's going to take me a
good.
second on Facebook for whatever crazy reason.
That's okay. We're just hanging out
Background
right
noise.
now.
Okay, so I got that. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, first, first of all, since you were just talking about the BariConnected, since that's the first thing that I'm kind of on my screen here, I'll pull that up first. So on Facebook, guys, if you would like to join us after these podcasts, we actually have a BariConnect Facebook page and a BariConnected Facebook group. Okay, so BariConnect and BariConnected on Facebook. I'm going to share Char's stuff here. I'm going to copy this. It's VSG Bestie. Um, I'm actually copying the link to your link tree. Is that what you want them to go to? I was thinking I had a
Yeah, that's
website.
fine.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. If it's easier for you guys to remember, the website is just www.vsgbestie.com and it'll take you to the same place. So no worries.
Char, would
No
you
worries.
type that
Yeah,
in the
I
chat
got
box while I'm going to go ahead and go back to sharing my screen.
you. No problem.
So when you type that in, what you're going to find is you're going to find Char's a lot of her links. Today's link, obviously, this will be on replay till the end of the month, guys. We also will be placing it on our YouTube channel and our podcast channel if you're listening here on the live next Tuesday. So the replay will be available there as well. But Char, you have links to your Instagram accounts, your TikTok accounts, some of the other, she has lots of discount codes. She is an affiliate of ProCare, which I'll share that here in a moment. I'll have you talk here in a moment about that. Um, so I'm going to just share some of these. When you click onto that site that we just shared, and I'll be sharing it on Facebook here in just a few moments, and if you're listening to a replay, you can find all of these links in the description too. So if you're listening on a replay, no worries, we got you covered. So VSG Bestie Instagram, Talk Bari to Me for her podcast. She's also helping these wonderful men in Bari male experience with theirs. And then TikTok, she has the same here. Talk Bari to Me. She has the Bari male experience that she's helping with. Also, and just throw in ProCare actually just has a TikTok that we just kind of started. Me and Char was
Yes.
talking. We don't know how long these are going to be up and available with all this news coming on with TikTok, but it's
We're
up
gonna
there
cross our
now.
fingers. We'll see what
Yes.
happens.
See, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. And then ProCare has a YouTube channel called ProCare Health Vitamins and Supplements. That's where you will find Char's replay next week on Tuesday. There should be a little subscribe button. If you subscribe to this channel, you can get notifications whenever new things are posted. Char also has the VSG Bestie on YouTube, so you can find her there as well. And so just lots and lots and lots of ways to connect. If you go to the link that she was talking about, most all of these, including all of her discount codes, are listed on there, including her discount code for ProCare. And I'm going to stop sharing real quickly. I want you to tell us like your experience with ProCare and what made you decide. And I'll post in the meantime, I'll post your affiliate links.
Absolutely. So, you guys, I just mentioned I had a Bari baby February 19th. And prior to that, I had my bariatric surgery. So I found myself in a really strange space of, oh my gosh, do I take my bariatric supplements? Do I take my prenatal supplements? And then lo and behold, ProCare came for the save and had a prenatal bariatric supplement. So it was a 2-for-1 situation. So I was ecstatic. So much so, I think I even like messaged you guys. Thank you so much for having a prenatal bariatric supplement because a lot of I'm coming across a lot of, I like to say, berry mamas that didn't even know that it existed. So I'm so excited that it exists because I think one, we're bariatric, so we want to stay on top of our supplements and nutrition, and two, we also want to have a healthy baby. So it was an awesome situation. I'm glad that I came across that. And I just have to brag on the chocolates. I had just ordered I just ordered some calcium chocolate bars. I love those. And they are limited, they're there for a limited time. I know they're seasonal. So if you haven't placed your order, please run now. Um, those are so good. My mom, I'm gonna make a quick just my mom didn't know they were calcium, right, Brenda? And I hear her munching behind me, and I'm like, what is she eating? And I see her digging her hands into my calcium bag of chocolates. She was eating them. She's like, oh, this is calcium? Like, yes. She's like, they're so good. I didn't know. They're chef's kiss, delicious. I promise you guys, I will never steer you wrong. All of the calciums are delicious. So that just so happened to be my favorite because I'm a chocolate lover. But ProCare has the was it the mocktail ones? They have the unflavored powder calciums, the supplements. I love let me just see here. I got it right here. This one right here, guys. I don't know. Oh man, it's kind of messed up here. Sorry. I'm gonna try to bring it closer. Okay, there it is. So these are the chewable ones. They remind me of like, do you remember like the sweet tarts from Halloween back in the day? Like when you would go trick or treating and they had those little cat. It tastes exactly like that. These are so good. This is a fruit punch flavored one. Run. I'm telling you, but definitely get the calcium chocolate. If you're a chocolate lover, you'll thank me later. Inbox me and let me know what you think. Because I love them.
Yeah, let Char know. And I want to test Char. This is something you may not even know. This is really exciting. So you were talking about the chocolates. I'm going to share this. I'm going to share my full screen. So the dark chocolate is seasonal and will be going out of stock really soon. And so get your chocolate before it's gone. But I also want to kind of like switch over to the ProCare website because guess what? Right now, the banner will show it here in a second. Right now, we are offering 10% off. It was yesterday and today with code CAL, C-A-L-C, CALC D10, C-A-L-C 10. Now, if you're listening to the replay, I'm sorry, probably is not going to be active. And our calcium likely we're right now we're April 24th. Um, that actually expires the people are probably not going to be able to order calcium after May because when it starts getting hot, the temperatures change. And so it'll come back in the fall. We're not totally getting rid of it. But yeah, you can probably use Char's code and save
Yes.
10%, and then use that code and save another 10% on the chocolate. So you almost kind of saving 20%. Kind of cool. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure if you have any questions, we do have a support number up here at the top of the procarenow.com. If you're listening to the replay, this should be in the comment section as well. If you've never tried ProCare and you want to try ProCare, you can get free samples. We have like a little click button at the top of the ProCare site, kind of a blue banner. It says interested in a free sample. You just click on there. So I think that's everything I have. Oh, do we do ship to Canada? But I do think I'd call our support line if you're shipping to Canada because they might be able to help you a little bit because I know there's some things with customs and things like that. There's some things that kind of may throw a little wrench in it for you. So we want to make sure that everything goes really smooth for you. So you're welcome to call that customer service number. It shouldn't cost anything to call.
Oh, Jennifer says she loves the multivitamin citrus. It smells delicious too. It smells like citrusy goodness.
Oh, you know what? That's one of my new favorites too. It's like a swallow tablet that is, I'll pull that up real quick too, Char. Show them real
Yeah,
quickly so they know. That's like one of our brand new, I shouldn't say brand new products because it's been around now for maybe 6 months. But on the ProCare Now website, when you go into products and you go to bariatric multivitamins, my computer has a little delay when I'm on a Zoom, so I apologize. And you go a little ways down because it is a newer product. It is orange and it's a multivitamin scented tablet in orange citrus. It has kind of a coating on it that tastes orangey. So it's easy to swallow. It's just kind of a neat little thing. And here's the prenatal that Shar was talking about. I'll kind of go back up. It's
there it
yellow.
is.
Yes. So if you're
I'm
thinking
telling
about
you.
conceiving,
Just from a price point perspective, like I've looked at a lot of supplements. ProCare has one of the best prices, of the most variety. So if you're a chewable person or a tablet person or there's something for everybody. So go look at the website. I promise you won't be disappointed. Price point wise, fantastic. I'm a mom of three, so trust me, I'm looking for the deals.
also was just going to show them the mocktails. So if you go under calcium, here's the mocktails. And then if you scroll down just a little bit further, that's where you'll find the chocolate too as well. So think any more closing thoughts? I love all of you guys for being here. Thank you so much. Shar,
Thank you guys. I want you guys to have a fantastic day on purpose. You have control over what goes on up here. Don't ever forget that. Don't give anybody your power and respect and protect your space and energy. That's it.
that's wonderful. It's a great way to live and so many wonderful things that you've said. It's a great one to go back and listen to, guys, and just like really let some of that absorb in because sometimes we just need to hear things over and over for us to remember them. Sometimes I go back and listen to these podcasts over because it just makes me realize, some of the points that I might have missed. Sometimes your mind goes in a thousand different directions. You say one thing and then it spurs a thought and then you don't hear anything for a few seconds. So, there's like a delay. But yeah, come back and listen, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody take care. And we appreciate you and keep listening.
Thank you, guys. Have a great
Thank you
day.
so much. Bye, everybody.